So Nityananda and Haridas Thakur went out door to door. People opened the door. Oh, what are you doing here? He's like, chant Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Worship Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
And now you also take instruction from Krishna. And some people, they, oh, this is wonderful. You come in, have something. They said, we don't want anything. We're only begging you to do these three things. And other places, they would open the door and the people said, I know you. You're the ones that wouldn't let us into that kirtan. You get out of here. And they chased them away. They met all kinds of people just like we do. And this is the same thing that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did that we're doing. Now when the kirtan party went on the streets of Navadvip, what's the first thing that happened? Somebody called the cops. They went out and started chanting on the street. And the Hindus got upset. They thought, this is going to ruin our religion. We've never heard of this public chanting before. The loud chanting of the names of God. He said, this is, even it's during Chaturmasya, it's going to wake up the Lord. He's sleeping now. This is crazy. And so they went and complained to the police. They called the police. They went and said, these are not Hindus. This Nimai, he's crazy. He used to be a Hindu, but now he's disrespecting our religion. He's profaning the whole thing. He's made up this whole philosophy of Sankirtan. He's sending his people out all over the streets. Get some cops down here and stop these people. So that's what the Qazi did. He sent the police. And they came in and they said, okay, there's a new ordinance. No more Sankirtan. Stop it. And then just to prove their point, they took one of the Madangas and they smashed it. And they went back. So imagine the devotees. I mean, it's hard when you're in a Muslim-ruled area to chant Hare Krishna. I just met the Chinese devotees when I was in Mayapur. They said, what do we do now? The government says, no chanting, no book distribution, no nothing. You guys just be quiet. So what do we do now? It's hard. We have it easy here. You know, we have First Amendment rights. You walk around, especially California. It doesn't get any easier than this, I guarantee you. If you were in, like, Kansas City. We stalled our car once in Kansas City. The transmission went out. There were 5 of us in the car. We had to walk back in the middle of the night. It was on the 4th of July weekend. And people in pickup trucks were driving by throwing bottles and rocks at us and stuff like that. I mean, in California, that's not going to happen so much. We can go pretty much anywhere and teach Krishna consciousness. But even in Navadvip it happened. And then, of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to the house of the Qazi and convinced him that you should let Sankirtan go. He had his inside way of teaching him, sent Lord Nrsingadev. So the Sankirtan movement then started, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu participated there in Navadvip, and then he went off and took sannyas, and then he went to Jagannath Puri. He went to South India for 4 years, and then he spent the rest of his life in Jagannath Puri with his most intimate associates, going deeper and deeper into the mellows of devotional service, the Vishalamba Bhav. They're in the Gambhira, hearing the songs of Jayadev Goswami and other esoteric Vaishnavas in the association Sup Damodar and Ramananda Roy. And so the great impression left on the world, any living entity who comes in this world leaves some impression. Even the most insignificant person, when they leave the world, there's a lot of things to take care of. You got to take care of their bank accounts and take care of all their clothes and all the stuff they left behind. It takes months, sometimes years, to even an insignificant living entity. What to speak of somebody who was a president or a governor or something like that? It's like a big deal, right? But when the Supreme Personality of Godhead comes into the world and then he disappears, it leaves in his wake such an impression that it never goes away. And that's what Gaura Punima is. We're remembering, we're diving into that wave that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left. He was only here a few minutes ago. I mean, in geological time, 500 years is just a flash. It's like a couple minutes. When we first pulled up here, we saw there was 5-minute parking. And I was asking, is this 5 minutes of Brahma, or is it like 5 minutes of, regular time? But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was just here, and then he left the world, and behind him he left what is the most valuable jewel for us. And what is that? Sankirtan, but actually what it is he left his order. Just as he ordered his intimate disciple, the devotees, to go out and teach Krishna consciousness, he left an order for everybody. It's an open order. And he said that everywhere you go, everyone you meet, everyone you see, you should extend yourself and teach them the process of the Krishna consciousness, the Sankirtan movement. And so this order is an open order. It's available to anybody in the universe. And anybody who embraces the order and tries becomes connected to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the most intimate way. Because as Prabhupada writes in the second canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a manifestation of his internal potency. And it is by this potency that one comes to see the Lord face to face. So we may not be able to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the great dancer. We may not even be close to a lot of devotees and big center or something like that. But every one of us has the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that's been passed down to us through Srila Prabhupada. And if we take that order and do the best we can to execute it, then we will advance in spiritual life. And everything that's necessary, all the spiritual paraphernalia, as Prabhupada puts it, will become manifest in our life by trying to fulfill that order. And actually the movement, Krishna conscious movement, is very simple. There's only two parts, two main parts. Should I say what they are?
Yes.
First one is chant Hare Krishna. Second is teach it to others. Number one?
Chant Hare Krishna.
Number two?
Chant Hare Krishna. Teach others. Teach others. Teach others.
Yes, these two things. Chant Hare Krishna, teach to others, and all the other things that we do are simply a support for this process. So we pray here on Gaura Punima, here in Sacramento Dham, where all these you powerful Vaishnavas are here, chanting Hare Krishna. Just like Advaitacharya and his group, you're holding open class, inviting people to come, you're chanting Hare Krishna together, you're worshiping the Lord at home, and it just, in this area, if we pray to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, please, what is your name?
Gopinath.
Gopinath Prabhu. Let's make this prayer. We pray to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on this day of his appearance, that he will empower everybody here in this yatra to have a taste for chanting Hare Krishna, for having loving exchanges with the devotees, and for spreading the Sankirtan movement. Anything else you want to add in? What else do you want to add in before we close the prayer?
Sacramento Temple.
Okay, and a place of worship where everyone feels shelter. What else? Come on, you got anything you want. Mahaprabhu's Vanchatita. That you'll see Lord Chaitanya in your hearts. That you'll have Rath Yatra.
More visiting great personalities.
More visiting great personalities. That's always a good thing to pray for. Good association and the intelligence to be able to take advantage of it. And so, on this day, we ask Sriman Mahaprabhu to please fulfill all these spiritual desires and help us to spread the Sankirtan movement on his behalf. Go Premanande Haribol. And now we'll just take a couple of reflections. Anything that you heard that's stuck in your mind. It means just any concept, phrase, anything, part of the story that you felt was something you can take out of here in your pocket. Yes. Reflections. Boy, that must be a long wire, huh? Yes.
When Prabhupada says...
Oh, here comes the mic. The reason it's important to use the mic, even though if you can speak loud, is the devotees who are online, and there's a lot of them, they can hear what you're saying when you speak in the mic.
When Prabhupada says...
It's not on.
Testing? Oh.
Yeah.
When Prabhupada says that Krishna dances on our tongue, that would include Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda?
Yes. Yeah, they're all
Thank you.
they're all part of
Thank you.
the spiritual world, the
Hare
internal
Krishna.
energy. Hare Krishna. What else did you hear that you can reflect back? Yes. Prabhuji, yes. Parideya Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Go right ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you so much for a wonderful class. Actually, this is the best class we've ever had.
Haribo.
Very good. And
His very kind and generous heart.
so I wish that we could see you more.
Haribo.
And I wished also that we could have the same exuberance in Krishna consciousness that you have. If we could have the same thing, that would be a great success if we could get that exuberance.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong way.
Hare Krishna.
Paridev, that was very touching, and I'm going to take what you said as a benediction on my head, that someday I may become exuberant in Krishna consciousness, and I aspire for your association and the association of all the devotees here. Hare Krishna.
I like the phrase you use, God intoxicated youth.
Yeah.
And if we have like few of them, in our, in this area or anywhere in the world, this whole place will be a completely different place.
Yeah, that's true. And the point is, everyone can have this. And Mahaprabhu made it available to everybody. So what does it take to feel some God intoxication? Yesterday, after we had our Gaura Punima celebration on Thursday. Today, if I'm not incorrect, is Saturday. So yesterday, I know I was chanting my japa at home. And I was thinking, why is my japa going so well today? A lot of times there's like a breakthrough. You got to like be stoic and keep chanting until you can fix your mind in here. And I was thinking, it's so easy to chant today, and I just feel so happy and I feel satisfied. Nothing's bothering me, which is very uncharacteristic because I have a lot on my mind. And then I remembered yesterday all day long we glorified Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We performed the sacrifice of Sankirtan together. And I said, it always works. It always works. When you do the Sankirtan Yajna, you naturally feel satisfied and fulfilled. It's the secret of life. And the simple things make all the difference in the world. So we're all meant to taste that, and we actually have to taste it every day. This is important. I call inspirational sadhana. You have to organize your life so in such a way at least you can get one molecule of this taste every day. Because this one molecule of taste, even if out of your 16 rounds, or how many of you are chanting, you're able to hear one name, and you think, wow, that sounded really good. It's mysterious, we don't even know what it is, but it just sounds like, that's appealing, I like that sound. I don't know, it's mysterious, it's exotic. And just by hearing that, your whole outlook on life will change. In fact, you may walk out from that japa period and look at the world and go, oh, it's different from the way I was looking at it before. And you may then experience that you have the wherewithal to control your senses from that one molecule of experience from chanting the holy name. And what to speak of those who are finding ways in order to organize their life so more and more they can be in the transcendental vibration. For instance, highly recommended that one chant at least one chapter of Bhagavad Gita every day. See, in the Bhagavad Gita, Rupa Goswami writes in his Laghu Bhagavatamrita, he said, don't forget the Bhagavad Gita. It is spoken by the lotus mouth of Krishna. That's not ordinary. He directly spoke this. And the book, this Bhagavad Gita has been very carefully preserved. The Mahabharata, you'll find various versions around the world. There's some interpolation because of over time, sometimes scriptures get changed here and there. But the Bhagavad Gita has been very carefully protected by the acharyas. It's the same exactly as it was thousands of years ago. And the records of it are passed down through the commentaries of the acharyas. And so this is the most coveted of jewels that we have, the Bhagavad Gita. If you make a vow, especially on Gaura Punima Day celebration, that you will chant one chapter of Bhagavad Gita a day. For instance, the 18th chapter, doesn't it seem formidable? Yeah. Doesn't it strike fear in your heart if I say chant one chant the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita every day, you think like, how am I going to do that? I don't have time to do that. Do you feel like that? I know I do. So if you just read the English translations to the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita at a normal speed, it takes me 14 minutes and 48 seconds, according to my Apple Watch. As I time it, and I make a little notation at the end, and I say, just to recite the English, which is a very sweet thing to do, hearing Krishna's words, 14 minutes and 48 seconds. And just to check, how many hours do you get here in Sacramento in a day?
24 hours.
24 hours, same as down in Silicon Valley. Okay. So you get 24 hours, and if you figure out what 14 minutes and 48 seconds, what percentage of 24 hours, you'll find that it's very insignificant. But it is highly significant if you take a vow like that, and you say every day without fail. Now if you go down to chapter 15, or chapter 12, you're going to find only 20 verses. How long will that take you? A few minutes only. But the spiritual reward is inestimable. So if you take these kinds of practices every day as your foundation, and you get this inspirational sadhana, this is the genesis of the Sankirtan movement, this taste that the devotees get. There was a couple more thoughts. Yes, Mataji's had her hand up for a long time over there. But let's see if the wire makes it all the way over there. You can do it. We've reached it all the way across the street to the grocery store before.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Today is auspicious day, and also you. I requested everybody, all the devotees, should take another vow to Jare Dekho Tare Kaho Krishna Prem. Give Krishna's name. You just try your own ability to just give Krishna's name and preach, and Srila Prabhupada and Krishna Conscious Movement. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Haribol!
So you mentioned that Lord Chaitanya had the initial problem trying to take Harinam Sankirtan to the streets of the police reaction. Well, in my experience, not so much the police give us problems in this day and age, but maybe it's the fear of ridicule or the fear of the police or fear of many things why many devotees aren't so eager always to go on Harinam. So could you just please give us a little advice on how to inspire others to go on Harinam, especially when there may not be regular Harinam going on in a particular group, or if you're just trying to inspire, say, hey, let's form a Harinam party right now.
Okay. I met the owner or the CEO of this yoga studio earlier. What's her name?
Biffy.
Huh?
Biffy.
Fifi.
B.
Beefy?
Yeah,
B-I-F-F-Y.
Okay, great. She's such a nice person. And she was telling me how her secret of her success here in the yoga studio, and she said to create a safe environment. She tries to, I could tell when I saw all the students, the yoga students leaving, they looked very vibrant and happy, and I could see this place is really well run. So she was telling me her secret, create a safe environment. And we found the same thing with starting Sankirtan parties in various places around the world. Is you have to create an environment in which the devotees feel safe and inspired. It's a little raw to walk out the door by yourself. It's overwhelming. Even if you go with a group, if it's not very well planned, and there's some major discord that happens, the devotees can get a little discouraged. So there's ways in which, if you plan ahead and you find the best ways and the best places, as an example for Harinam Sankirtan in Palo, we've been experimenting at ISV for many years. And we've gone to a lot of different places to do Harinam. And one of the places we've gone regularly for, I don't know, 15 years now is in Palo Alto, near Stanford University. And there's a plaza there called Litton Plaza. And for many years we just go there and chant. Just stand up and chant and come as you are. And then we found that sometimes there'd be street musicians, sometimes other people come and challenge us. like Christians or something like that. And it was sweet, but it wasn't always guaranteed we get the spot. And then we looked, and we started looking through the website in Palo Alto of the city, and we found that they give a permit for Lytton Plaza. For one night, you just pay like $60 or something, and they give you the whole plaza. So we went down, some of our devotees, to the permit office, and we said, we'd like to have a permit to do our practice, our religious practice. And they said, sir, we don't give permits. We said, no, it's right here on your website. And they go, oh, I guess it is. And they'd never done it before. No one ever asked. So they gave us a permit. For the last 4 years, we've had this permit. We go there, and respectfully, we show everybody, and everybody clears out. And we've been able to set up a little, what we call a mini festival. Like Rath Yatra. When you have a Rath Yatra, you have a few booths, and there's a lot going on, and people walk in and they think, oh, this is great. Which book should I take? You can create that same environment every weekend by having a mini festival. If you find safe places you can go and get a permit. We did it also downtown Mountain View. We found out they also give a permit right in front of City Hall. It's a very ornate, nice place. We set up our mini festival, and it was fantastic. So if you do a little research, and then the idea of our mini festivals, we call them the Kirtan Oasis. We set it up in such a way that it's inviting to people to come into the environment. We have a little light show at night, and we have a couple of booths, and the devotees are trained there so that when people come in, they're greeted like friends. We take care of them, and we're making devotees from that. What to speak of selling hundreds and thousands of books from that one place. So this is a specific example, but the general principle is that you can always, with a little research and brainstorming amongst the devotees, find ways to make your presentation a little more refined so that it appeals to people. Yes, if someone hears the holy name, they get eternal benefit. But when people open their hearts and minds to it, it goes in much deeper. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made external arrangements. He didn't just say, we'll just present it any old which way. But for instance, he took sannyas, and the reason he did was to compel people to come closer to the Sankirtan movement. That was the reason he took sannyas, because he wanted people to respect him more, because he knew they'd get more benefit. It was an aesthetic, external change. And if we do the same thing and we consider things like that, then we can become more and more effective, and we're finding that with our Harinam. And book distribution is the same thing. I was just in Alachua recently where they asked us to help them inaugurate a monthly Sankirtan festival we call MSF. Everyone say MSF. MSF. So MSF is something we started about 15 years ago, maybe more, at ISV. It's kind of Silicon Valley. And by the way, it's become such a success. We started in a little house on New Jersey Avenue, and then we moved to a storefront that we got kicked out of after a couple of years because there were so many people coming, and we were right next to a pizza place and a hair cutting, and there's like all these people, and Radha Krishna right there. And then finally we moved to a commercial building, and we outgrew that. Then we moved into a temple. And all the time we simply depended on book distribution. And the monthly Sankirtan festival grew and grew. And the last 2 years in America, the little ISV, just nobody actually lives in the temple except for one pujari now, was the biggest in North America last year and this year. And this year, 2017, this tiny little temple that grew up from a little house, there were 3 temples in the world that gave over $500,000, $500,000 to the BBT last year. One of them was New Delhi, the other one was Bombay, and the third one was ISV. And so I'm saying that not out of a sense of pride, although I do have a sense of pride in the devotees there, but to say that wherever you are, you can do this. It doesn't matter. We started in a tiny little place, and if you have an organized system and you follow a template and you do it regularly, you look to improve. You can make gradual improvements and come. You can build an empire by doing this, working together for a common goal. And this is very important, to work together for a common goal, because then you'll all feel inspired in the mission. And I think it's getting late. We should have the Artik now for Gornitai, and then Prasadam, and we invite everybody in Sacramento to come here take Prasad. This is our challenge. We will feed everybody in this whole city, right?
Yes.
So it doesn't matter who it is. So somebody get the message out to everybody in the parking lot to get in here, take Prasad, and let everybody in Sacramento know we're feeding every single living entity tonight by Lord Chaitanya's grace. Gaura Punima Haribo. And now we'll have the Maha Artik for Gornitai here on Gaura Punima. Hare Krishna.